Picture this: emus, Australia's iconic flightless birds, squaring off against an ill-fated military campaign. Get ready for a whirlwind tour through this comical yet utterly captivating story. Now let's set the stage for this strange piece of history. It's 1932 in Australia, a time when the Great Depression had cast a dark shadow over the land. And while economic hardship was already a heavy burden, imagine dealing with a threat that was both unexpected and, well, feathered. This threat came in the form of emus, those seemingly harmless flightless birds. But don't let their innocent appearance fool you, because these emus were on a mission to wreak havoc on the livelihoods of hard-working farmers. You see, they had a particular taste for destroying crops, and they weren't about to stop anytime soon. Australia was in dire straits, and the government was on a mission to help struggling farmers. So, what was their brilliant idea? They decided to give these farmers land to grow their crops, offering a glimmer of hope during the Great Depression. But here's where it gets interesting, or rather, downright hilarious. As soon as these farmers got their hands on that land, they had an uninvited guest list: emus. And not just a handful, but thousands of them. These emus were like party crashers, trampling fields, gobbling up crops, and turning dreams of prosperity into a feathery nightmare. The situation was beyond dire. So what did the Australian government decide to do about it? Well, they sent in the troops, led by the one and only Major G.P.W. Meredith, and equipped them with the most unlikely of weapons for a war against emus: Lewis machine guns. That's right, folks. The government had declared war on the emus, and they were determined to win it. But could machine guns really defeat a feathered foe? So there they were, Major Meredith and his troops, armed to the feathers with Lewis machine guns, ready to face off against the emu menace. But little did they know what they were up against. The emus, as it turned out, were not your average opponents. They were fast, incredibly agile, and masters of evasion. These birds could outrun the soldiers, making them elusive targets on the battlefield. Imagine trying to shoot at a moving target that can dart around like a pro basketball player. It wasn't just a challenge, it was a comedy of errors, with the emus seemingly mocking the soldiers with their swift moves. But the soldiers weren't about to give up that easily. They had machine guns, after all. However, even with their powerful weaponry, the emus proved to be masters of misdirection, darting away before the soldiers could even take aim. This wasn't just a hunt. It was a slapstick showdown between man and bird. And as the emu war raged on, it became clear that this was no ordinary conflict. The emus had the upper hand, and the soldiers were left scratching their heads. As the emu war continued, Major Meredith and his troops were in for more surprises than they ever could have imagined. The emus, it seemed, weren't just fleet-footed. They had an uncanny ability to absorb bullets. Yes, you heard that right. These emus were like feathered tanks, seemingly immune to the firepower of the Lewis machine guns. It was as if they were wearing some sort of feathery body armor. Major Meredith and his troops soon found themselves in a predicament. Their machine guns were jamming, and the emus, well, they simply scattered before they could even take aim. It was like a real-life game of duck, duck, goose, except with emus and bullets. Can you imagine the frustration? Here were seasoned soldiers facing off against emus, and, pardon the pun, they were getting a real bird's-eye view of the challenges that these birds presented. So, as the emus continued to evade, and their bullets seemingly bounced off, Major Meredith had to make a tough call. The soldiers had to withdraw, admitting defeat. That's right, the emus emerged as the victors of this feathered showdown. So, you might be wondering what happened after the emus emerged victorious in this bizarre war. Did they throw a feathered celebration? Well, not quite, but they did continue to roam the vast Australian outback as they always had. These emus, the unsung heroes of this peculiar tale, went about their lives, probably sharing tales of their epic showdown with the humans. And as for the farmers, well, they were left to pick up the pieces of their shattered dreams and devastated crops. The Emu War might have ended with feathers flying, but the aftermath was no laughing matter for the farmers who suffered through crop losses. It was a reminder that even in the strangest of historical events, there were real-world consequences. We hope you've enjoyed this emu-filled adventure as much as we have. And, as always, we're curious to hear your thoughts, so please share your comments and join the conversation. Thanks for joining us on this whimsical trip through history. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell icon, and stay tuned for more quirky tales from the past, right here on the Hidden History channel.